We told you that Donald Trump's dark past would surface. We told you he could run, but he could not hide. Now new Epstein documents are surfacing on Monday night. They're very, very, very concerning. I want to share them with you, and I want to share with you the sequence of what went down yesterday. So earlier in the day, Democratic Congressmember Ro Khanna stated that he had heard that the DOJ would be producing another batch of Epstein files in the afternoon. People waited for the afternoon, and those files were not produced. Entered a search term to look for Dataset 8 using the prior search formats and constructs, even though it wasn't on the DOJ website. And sure enough, it actually opened up a website for Dataset 8, even though it was not posted on the DOJ website. We quickly downloaded everything on Dataset 8. It was tens of thousands of documents, still nowhere near the complete file that constitutes the Epstein files. But there were tens of thousands of records. We downloaded them and we started going through them document by document. Some of these documents raise a lot of serious questions, and the fact that it was not posted on the DOJ website also raised some red flags. Then later in the evening, on Monday night, the DOJ posted Set 8. Now, some of these documents that we uncovered that I say raise these concerns, these red flags, were moved. Still there, but the document numbers were shifted, and so you had to go and re-examine them to determine where they were. So it also raises some serious questions. Why were they manipulating and changing the document numbers on these pages within a matter of hours? And what else might they be covering up? So here's one of the messages that we uncovered. Let me read it to you. In Dataset 8 of the Epstein files release, which was briefly posted on the Justice Department's website yesterday, there is a letter alleging to be sent from Jeffrey Epstein to convicted sex offender Larry Nassar. Remember Larry Nassar, you know who that was? The American convicted serial sex offender. Former family medicine physician, he was the team doctor of the United States Women's National Gymnastics team and a physician at Michigan State University, where he sexually assaulted hundreds, potentially thousands of young girls. So, in the Epstein files, in Dataset 8, which was briefly posted and then posted later in the night with different bait numbers, document numbers, there's this letter, which was postmarked just days after Epstein died. Here's how it reads. Dear LN, Larry Nassar, dear LN, as you know by now, I have taken the short route home. Good luck. We shared one thing, our love and caring for young ladies at the hope they'd reach their full potential. Our president shares our love of young, nubile girls. When a young beauty walked by, he loved to, quote, grab snatch, whereas we ended up snatching grub in the mess halls of the system. Life is unfair. Yours, J. Epstein. Now, this letter, you analyze it, was returned to sender. Reporting indicates that Epstein sent a letter to Nassar from prison before his alleged suicide. The contents of that letter was never revealed. Additional documents show that the letter was submitted for handwriting analysis within the FBI, though it's unclear if investigators ever reached a conclusion on whether or not this letter was definitively written by Jeffrey Epstein. So these images had the document numbers, or we call them bait numbers, EFTA 36086, 36085, and then there were the various forensic analysis documents, 36076, 36077, and 36078, where it was actually sent out to a lab for a handwriting analysis to see if it was Epstein's. And we never got back those results, or we don't know where those results are as of now. Now, in addition to that, there was another document that we uncovered that I want to share with you, which raises a lot of red flags. Here it is right here. You'll see the document number EFT 29798. Subject, Epstein flight records, dated January 8th, 2020. Let me read it to you. And by the way, this is a letter sent by Assistant United States Attorneys. So these are federal prosecutors from the Southern District of New York. They were the ones who would have been prosecuting Epstein before he died by alleged suicide, and they were the ones who successfully prosecuted Ghislaine Maxwell. Maureen Comey was the successful prosecutor who Donald Trump fired a few months ago. But here's one of the internal emails relating to Epstein flight records from those Southern District of New York prosecutors. Let me read it. For your situational awareness, wanted to let you know that the flight records we received yesterday reflect that Donald Trump traveled on Epstein's private jet many more times than previously has been reported, or that we were aware of, including during the period we would expect to charge in a Maxwell case. In particular, he is listed as a passenger on at least 8 flights between 1993 and 1996, including at least 4 flights on which Maxwell was also present. He is listed as having traveled with, among others, and at various times, Marla Maples, his daughter Tiffany, and his son Eric. On one flight in 1993, he and Epstein are the only 2 listed passengers. On another, the only 3 passengers are Epstein, Trump, and then 20-year-old, and this is redacted. Often these redactions are associated with victims. On 2 other flights, 2 of the passengers, respectively, were women who would be possible witnesses in a Maxwell case. We've just finished reviewing the full records, more than 100 pages of very small script, and didn't want any of this to be a surprise down the road. And this is signed by an assistant U.S. attorney for the Southern District of New York. In other words, a federal prosecutor sent this email, and you'll see it has document number 29798. Now, that first letter that purports to be from Epstein to Larry Nassar, that was sent here. Pull it up right here. Look at the date. August 13th of 2019, and that was postmarked a few days actually after Epstein died. But we've heard about the potential existence of a letter like that before, and this idea that Epstein may have sent a letter and it may have been rejected and sent back after he died. Now, the Associated Press actually did public records requests back in 2023 to the Bureau of Prison. They found emails that reference that letter, but they never were able to uncover the actual letter. Just emails back and forth that reference the Epstein-Nassar letter. So this was an article from June 2nd, 2023. Prison documents reveal Jeffrey Epstein tried to reach out to Larry Nassar, gymnastics coach convicted of sexual abuse. While he was in prison, disgraced financier Jeffrey Epstein sent a letter to Larry Nassar, the former Olympic doctor who sexually abused girls for decades, new documents reveal. The Associated Press first reported the discovery, which was found in the midst of over 4,000 pages of documents. The news agency obtained nearly 4 years after Epstein, who was accused of child sex trafficking, died of an apparent suicide in New York City jail while awaiting trial. The new documents offer additional insight into what documents previously released by the Federal Bureau of Prisons, BOP, in 2021 revealed about Epstein's suicide. The documents were acquired from the Bureau of Prisons under the Freedom of Information Act and shed light on Epstein's death and his behavior during his 36 days at the Metropolitan Correction Center, MCC, including his attempt to connect with Nassar, according to the AP. An investigator discovered Epstein's letter to Nassar in the jail mailroom weeks after Epstein was found dead, according to the documents. The letter was not part of the documents obtained by either the AP or CNN, but the documents reference that the letter was returned to the jail in September 2019, weeks after Epstein's death. Quote, it appeared he mailed it out and it was returned back to him. The investigator told a prison official in an email included in the documents. Quote, I'm not sure if I should open it or if we should hand it over to anyone. The copy of the email exchange by CNN, obtained by CNN, is redacted and does not reference Nasser by name, but in their reply, an MCC staff attorney described the original addressee of Epstein's letter as, quote, the former doctor of the U.S. female gymnastics team that was convicted of molesting a bunch of girls under the guide of medical procedures examinations. The attorney added, some of the victim accounts are pretty horrific. It is unclear if the two men had any relationship. Also, an article from The Guardian described the letter from Epstein to Nasser that was previously reported among the documents that were found in the mailroom weeks after Epstein's death. Okay, so I want to give you all of that context. So that letter purportedly sent from Epstein to Nasser was referenced before, but the actual letter itself was never uncovered, potentially until what was just released right there. Also, you have that other letter from the top federal prosecutors in the Southern District of New York referencing Trump being on the jet with Epstein more than they even expected right there. But what this is all telling me as well is that there's a lot more documents out there. Specifically, the documents that really need to be released right now are the FBI interviews with the victims, with the witnesses, with all of these people. Right? I mean, when we talk about Trump being on the jet with Epstein more than those federal prosecutors expected, they're also referencing an entire corpus of evidence and witness interviews that have yet to be released. Those are the documents that need to get out there. And if what I'm sharing with you references Trump or potentially references Trump in these settings, you could judge for yourself. I'm expressing to you opinion protected by the First Amendment of the United States Constitution, right? I'm giving you my opinion here by showing you what's been produced, and I have a right to give you my First Amendment opinion. I want to see victims. All this is protected by First Amendment opinion, right? So I want to get you the witness statements. I want to get the FBI statements. I want to get you all these victim and survivor statements. So yesterday, before all this news even broke, I had the opportunity to interview with Democratic Congressmember Ro Khanna. He's the Congressmember who put forward the discharge petition with Republican Thomas Massie, and he was spot on when he was saying, we know there's a cover-up taking place, and we want to see the FBI witness interviews, especially in light of everything that I just shared with you. We need to see that. So, because what was just uncovered that I'm sharing with you was all yesterday evening.